All right, another edition of Foul Tips, the all baseball edition of the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. Four beer sports talk and a whole lot more. Well, probably only one today, but usually it's four. Today we're going to talk about the two home run chases going on in Major League Baseball right now. We'll talk the Toronto Blue Jays' 30th anniversary of their first World Series title, the wild card race, and I'll touch on my recent trip to Yankee Stadium to see my beloved New York Yankees. So sit back, grab a beer, and as always, let's get into her. When I was in New York City this past week, we put a Twitter poll out there that got a pretty good, picked up some pretty good steam. It was basically, well, it wasn't basically, it was what's the more intriguing home run race heading into the last month of the Major League Baseball season. And it was the Judge to 62 or Albert Pujols to 70. And it got quite the response on the old Twitter machine, got 166 votes, which is a lot for us. For some reason, people don't vote on our polls, but we'll talk about that another day, or else we already have. And Pujols to 700 got 72.9% of the vote. And I was quite surprised by that number. But then I got thinking a little bit and reading a little bit, and then some of the response that people were giving that maybe because my Yankee bias, I'm a Yankee fan, and I was in New York at the time and everything else. So I was caught up in the Judge race. By the way, he's at 49 home runs. It's Sunday afternoon. So the Yankees are about to play their fourth game in Oakland today. Man, it was a heartbreaker last night. Don't get a hit, though. You don't deserve to win, but that's another story for another day. But Judge is at 49 with 35 games left to get to 62, which is the American League record and the Yankee record, as we've talked about in the past, that people still believe that 61 is still a record because of the PED use, but we won't get into that a whole bunch. But then Albert Pujols, he got himself into the 700 range with a barrage of home runs over the last week, and he's at 693. He's got 14 this year. He's four shy of all time for beating that no good A-Rod, his record of 696, I think. So he'll get to 697. Pujols, 7 away from 700. He'll only be the fifth guy, I believe, to get there. Got me thinking a lot about which one would be a better, a more intriguing race. And because Pujols doesn't play every day, he might get some more playing time because the Cardinals do have a pretty substantial 6.5 games. It's substantial, but it's enough that they can play him every day, even at his age. And it's his last year of his career. He said he is retiring at the end of this year, so he might get a little more playing time. So what's you got to rest for once you're retired and you got all that money to sit on? You just sit around and get fat. You can laze around. You don't got to worry about the aches and pains and everything else. The training camp and the grind will get you. And then you got the Judge sprint. He's got a few more to go. He's got 13 more to go. All of a sudden, he's got to get one every 2.6 games to get there. So that's going to be a real tough situation to get to. I thought it was a no-brainer that people would want to see Judge get to the 62 just because it's intriguing. But then the thing is, with 700, there's a good chance that we won't, like I'm 48 now, there's a good chance I won't see 700 career home runs again in my lifetime. The closest guy right now is Miguel Cabrera. He's only got 1 year left on his deal, so he's at 500 and some, whatever it is. So he's not getting to 700. And you go down the ranks, and you got Trout at 300 plus. He's got to get 400 in his injury riddled career. I can't see him doing it. You'll have to probably go to somebody like maybe a Juan Soto at the age of 21 who's got 100 plus home runs already to get to 700. These milestone records, yes, they may not mean much in the grand scheme of things and to like the actual game of baseball, to wins and losses and everything else. But it's the part of the game that I love the most. It has got, not the most, but a part of the game that I love is that these records are there forever. And numbers are part of the game of baseball that we all know and love a lot, because that's what the stats are. And that's the only thing we can compare yesteryear to compared to what we have now. And it's the only way you can compare the eras, really. Because it's man against man. Yes, Babe Ruth probably didn't play against the greatest competition. He ended up with 714. But great player, obviously, swinging a fucking redwood for a bat. But it's going to be interesting to see if Pujols can do it. 7 doesn't seem like a lot when you got 35 games left. Like I said, it's going to depend a lot on what the Cardinals give him for playing time. He doesn't play every day. He's in and out of the lineup, obviously, because of his age. But like I said earlier, because they have a 6.5 game lead right now over the Milwaukee Brewers, he might get a little more playing time. and hitting 7 home runs, you get hot like he did last week and hit 2 or 3 in a week. You got 35 games left. Before you know it, there's only five weeks left in the season, and we're all done. Little League World Series finals today, and I've always said that once Little League World Series is over, that's the end of summer. It's kind of funny how the leagues are starting to change and everything else around Southern Alberta. But it's, man, I like the Little League World Series. We'll get into that a little bit in a second. But the Judge race, it's not getting as much juice as I thought it would be lately. He's been on a bit of a slump. He hit 2 when I was at the stadium last week, which was nice to see. It was a lot of fun to be there. We'll get into that a little bit. But the Judge home run race hasn't got a lot of juice, even around Yankee Stadium. I thought there would have been a lot more T-shirts and things and stuff going on there, and I didn't see much of it. There was a little bit of talk about will he or won't he. I think once he gets to 50, 52, with a couple of weeks left, and if he can get a couple on this road, a couple more, maybe one today in Oakland, you might see a little more juice once you hit that number 50. Once you get to that 50, that's when people really start to talk about it. Also, maybe it's not getting as much juice because the home run record is Larry Bonds did hit that year 74. So maybe it's a sprint and a marathon, and the sprint that Judge is on, it can happen every year. Every year, someone can possibly, like, it hasn't. Don't at me or whatever, but it hasn't happened in a long time. But it could happen every year. 700 home runs can't happen every year. 700 career home runs does not happen every year. Problem that you got is when you watch the Olympics, does anybody watch the 4,000 meter or the marathon, or do they watch the 100-meter dash? The 100-meter dash is the marquee event of an Summer Olympic Games. So it kind of has that. But this now that this marathon, which is Albert Pujols' career, is coming to an end. This last 5 weeks, 35 games, like whatever I said he has left, to get 7 home runs, and maybe even just the 4 to put him into 4th place, I believe, all-time home runs, past A-Rod, which we all know his steroid thing. Pujols allegedly is clean. I don't know enough. I not even pretend to delve into that stuff. But A-Rod, we know, everybody knows, he's admitted to it. His lies and everything else. But the thing with Pujols, his marathon's coming to an end, and to get 7 home runs, to hit 700, would be awfully neat to see. I'm going to start tuning into a lot more Cardinals games as the season progresses. That comes to an end, because I'm down at the Tavern now. Actually, I got the Jays game on. They're stinking the joint this week, and they were great against the Yankees last week and playing against the Angels. Haven't scored a run this weekend, but we'll talk about them in a second. And I got the Dodgers game on as well. So I'll be watching a lot more Cardinals games for the last 35 games, see if Pujols can get there. Do I think he'll get there? I think he's going to end up with 698 just because. I don't know why. I hope he gets to 700. I hope the Cardinals give him at-bats all the time, as much as he can handle at his age. He's a big guy, carrying that kind of weight around Camp. He's a big dude, swinging the bat every day. It's a long, tough grind, especially when you get to this part of the. We're past the dog days of August now. We're getting into September in a couple of days, folks. So it'd be interesting to see if he can do it. Will he get there? It's going to be tough. Will Judge get there? I thought he was a shoo-in a few weeks ago. Now I'm not so sure. It's going to be very interesting. Chasing 61, like I said, it's a sprint that can happen every year. The 700 can't happen every year. There's more people who've hit 60 in the history of baseball than have hit 700. So maybe the 700 chase is a lot more intriguing for a lot of people, because it hasn't happened very often. We got some great responses, and hopefully you guys listen to the show afterwards. I'll put it out there on Twitter that you guys responded on our Twitter poll, and you guys listen to our show, so get you a shout out. Seth Friederman, or at Seth Friederman, he says Pujols be the first non-PED enhanced player to get 700 since Hank Aaron. We got Shane, the Ravens fan. You must have saw that Judge at one point was 33% of the vote. He said, I hate 33% of y'all. Walter Maselli at Walter Maselli 1. Nobody cares about Judge but Yankee fans. I disagree with that 100%, Walter. We can discuss that at a later date. Blanche 00. He said, this is an interesting take that I thought was quite interesting. He said, both are getting juice balls to accomplish them, so neither interests me. I said that was a very interesting take. I think that's a conspiracy theory thing, but that's Blanche is 00. That's his prerogative, his prerogative to think that way. Bobby Brown in it. So it's an interesting take that's going to get juice baseballs. You never know. I don't believe that. And Eric Bubblehead, he said, voting for Pujols is silly in my opinion. Judd's 62 is a clean single-season home run record. Pujols has an amazing, awesome, fantastic, tremendous career, but Judd's 62 is a single-season home run record. Y'all at Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball Network. And Adley Rushman, he said, no one will hit 700 for under 15 years. What WTF are you talking about in response to Eric Bubblehead? 715 years away at least. So he's probably right. He's probably right. Enjoy the last week of the season, folks, because it's going to be or last few weeks of the season. It's going to be very interesting. Not only the playoff races, not so much, but these races, and with the wild card thing. But these 2 home run records, it could be something that we may never see again. 62 might get done, American League record, Yankee record, something. It's a Major League Baseball record, and then Pujols to 700. Anyways, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. 1420, and that's my thoughts. Anyways, 1420 Sports Podcast brought to you by Manscaped and Manscaped.com.